today's lesson, we'll be working on our task 2 advanced essay. It's a continuation. So in previous two videos, we talked about introduction, how to write a good proper introduction, and body paragraph and basic structure of body paragraphs. And in today's lesson, we're going to work on only the main structures that we can exploit in our body paragraphs, body paragraph second and third and fourth, to get high score from our lexical resources, coherence, cohesion, and grammar range and accuracy. So in this video, as I explained in the last video, in the previous video, the basic structure of body paragraph, and I just showed the basic templates and basic ways of writing one body paragraph and discussion and explanation. In this video, I'm not going to continue the body paragraph, so I'm just going to write the starting structures for body paragraph second and third and fourth, and I'm going to just move on to conclusion. If you have any questions, you may approach me, or you may approach your own teacher and just ask for further assistance. And hopefully in the future videos, in the next videos too, we will have we will dissect the basic structure of body paragraph in more details. And now let's move on to the basic structure of and the basic introductory sentences that we can use to start our second and third and fourth body paragraph. And here the first one is, so I'm just gonna write with blue marker here. And so to give the second advantage of the topic, we have to use some kind of linkers, we have to use some kind of conjunctions and connectors. We can just use in addition, additionally, simply, or moreover, furthermore. So here I'm just going to use moreover. And as you see here, I wrote moreover, a further benefit of this phenomenon, if it's situation, in our situation where we talked about tourism, it's phenomenon, or when we're talking about some kind of action that should be undertaken, so we say course of action. So maybe we just continue, and after this, after saying maybe, we say our second advantage here. And as you know, from the previous lessons, here we are using the structure maybe to give tentative language and to get higher score in terms of task achievement. And here we are using moreover to make our coherence cohesion level higher, and here task achievement. And for a further benefit, here we're trying to gain some kind of some lexical resources, and here also lexical resources. And in general, this structure itself will, with high probability, give you high chance of getting good score. And now let's move on to the third body paragraph, which is the beginning of our disadvantages part of the essay. And here we use the structure of nevertheless, the structure starting with nevertheless, to start our third body paragraph. And the main structure is probably like that. And as you see in this part, we use the structure nevertheless. So we are using the word nevertheless, the like conjunction and linking word connector nevertheless. To increase the level of coherence cohesion, to show that we're transitioning from one side to another side. It should be stated that. So here we should mention that we're using a passive voice to get a higher grammar structure, and so we're using an impersonal style of giving information. And there may be, here again, we are using tentative language, so it's for our task achievement level. several detrimental sides. So here we're using the vocabulary. We're trying to improve our lexical resource score. The most concerning, and here again, the most concerning and prevalent one. And here we are using lexical resources, again, lexical resources to try to improve our overall performance, and one of the most prevalent one being, and here we're using again good grammar structure, which is participle clause, to get higher grammar range and accuracy score. And as it was explained above in the previous lessons, after this you have to give your first disadvantage, and you have to explain, discuss it in at length, in depth, and clearly, to get higher points and to solidify your task achievement score. And after this you can give your example if you have, and it's optional. And here now we have to move on to body paragraph 4, which describes our second disadvantage. And as you see in this part, we said, furthermore, another equally worrying demerit which is worth mentioning could be. And here, as you see, we're using the word connector furthermore to increase our coherence cohesion level. Another equally worrying. So equally worrying is our lexical resource score here, and demerit is also a good way of saying disadvantage here. So we just get higher lexical resources, which is worth mentioning. Here we are using the structure of relative clause, and here we're getting higher grammar range and accuracy score. So after this, which is worth mentioning, here we are getting again lexical resources. So you have to be careful when you're using the structures, because if you don't use advanced structures, you are not going to achieve as high as score as you wanted to get. And here could be, as usual, the structures that we use, tentative language, to achieve highest task achievement score. Well, that's basically the end of our body paragraphs. After this also you have to write discussion explanation part, and if you have to give examples which are optional. And then after this part we move on to the conclusion part of our essay. Now let's talk about our conclusion part of our essay, advantage essay. And here we also can use some universal structures that can be used in any advantage type of essay. And in this part we are only going to give advantages and disadvantages. We don't have to paraphrase the topic. So now let's look at the basic structure of our conclusion. And conclusion here is as you see in this part, what we have to do is we have to give our conclusion, and in our conclusion we have to basically paraphrase the topic. It's totally optional, and the reason why you have to paraphrase is only maybe when you don't have enough words to have the word limit, reach the word limit of 250 words. If you have a risk of getting punishment or getting penalty because of inefficient number of or not enough words in your essay, you can just write, you can paraphrase the topic one more time, which is optional, and just get some extra 10 or 15 words. And after this, the basic things that we have to state again is advantages and disadvantages. And we don't have to just write them in a complete way, we just have to paraphrase them and just give the short version so that it will be understandable to the person who is reading it. And here we're going to start with the structure in conclusion. So in this part we have to continue. We have different ways of continuing. We have like 3 different ways of continuing. So we can have this phenomenon, or we can say, so we have 2 choices here. We can say with this phenomenon simply to refer to our topic, or we can just directly say the topic, which can be good for our number of words, because it's going to be longer. And as I was saying, we can have the structure this phenomenon to refer back to the topics that we're talking about, or we can just simply restate the topic itself, which is, in our case, tourism or development of tourism. So we can just continue our structure, which is and as you see, in our case, the structure is, in conclusion, this phenomenon or topic itself, which is development of tourism, may possess numerous positive sides, including, and you just give the short version of the advantages. For example, in our case, it was the benefit to a country's economy and improved image of the country. And as you see, we're saying, however, to show that we're going to give something that contrasts to the previous topic or previous statement, it should not be neglected. So we're using the impersonal way of saying we should not neglect, or we should pay attention that a variety of drawbacks may follow or may ensue, you can say, such as your first disadvantage and second disadvantage, which may be pollution, increased pollution and environmental damage, or simply possibility of conflicts. That's the end of our task 2 body paragraph and conclusion structures. If you have any questions, you may ask, and you may leave comments in this video, and we will try to improve upon the structure and give you better content in the next videos. So that's the end of our lesson. See you in the next lessons.